Hey Steve, it's Thursday, and that means that I've been contemplating all the ways that I am terrible at living a spiritual life. You asked 3 questions on Monday, like you do, and so here we go. Number 1, what am I stubbornly refusing to give of myself? That is a really good question, but I think it's also worth noting that my first thought was nothing. I'm giving a lot. I spend a lot of time doing work for the GOA, a lot of time doing therapy during the week, and so my initial thought is, what more could I give? But my second thought was that the scriptures know me better than I do. And this week I've been increasingly realizing that my need to do everything has actually been getting in the way of me giving a lot of things. I frequently find that I get so concerned about how little time I have to do all the things that I get frustrated when the people who actually depend on me need my time. For example, I find that when nighttime rolls around, I am eager to get my children into bed because I'm thinking about all the things I still have to do. And so I rush through their bedtime routine, anxious to have them fall asleep so that I can get back to doing all the ultra important work that I have to do so that I can seem like a good worker. And so I guess that my giving everything is actually more about my reputation and success than it is about being super altruistic. Am I happy with this? No way. I find this as a conviction to do my best to be more present for my children, to give them the time that they actually deserve and need from me, to play with them and read with them, to cuddle and talk, to be a dad who actually loves them. Because I certainly don't want to be a dad who spends more time being concerned about other people than I am about my own children. Number 2, is there someone in my life that I could have had compassion on but didn't? Unfortunately, as I said earlier, I feel like the place that I struggle with compassion the most is at home. I do not mean to say that I don't care about my family. I absolutely do. It's just that sometimes I find it way easier to put off being compassionate at home because demands for compassion are far more regular and sometimes more exhausting. I think one of the sad realities of working in ministry and in therapy is that these are professions where compassion is demanded all day long. Being in these helping, caring professions, which I absolutely love and feel like I was made for, means that I sit with people all day long in their pain. And so when I come home from a long day of just having been feeling compassion all day long, and my children are upset about having to eat vegetables, it makes it a little hard to understand their struggle. In the therapy industry, we call this compassion fatigue. Because I usually come home tired, emotionally exhausted myself from having felt so much throughout the day. And so when I hear these childish complaints, it's hard to take them seriously. But as I reflect on this, I think there's actually a beautiful opportunity here. At the end of the day, it's true that I feel like I've reached the limits of my own compassion, like that natural ability that I have for empathy has nearly been depleted. But I wonder if it's at this point that my own compassion can be transformed into divine compassion. Perhaps it's only in my own emptiness that I can actually reach out to the Lord for help, to let him fill me with his own compassion for my children. This doesn't mean that I have to give in to their complaints. I can still lovingly set limits while understanding the depth of their struggle to eat cauliflower. Because it is hard to eat things that you don't want. I'm reminded of that on Wednesdays and Fridays and several extended periods throughout the year. So if I have a hard time with it, why wouldn't they? Number 3, how am I like the father in Luke's gospel? A lot. Unfortunately, I see that my own struggles do rub off on my children. This struggle that I have to be perfect, I see my oldest struggling with this all the time as well. I also see that my own complaining, especially about fasting, often leads to their complaining about what they eat as well. And I see the fact that I struggle to pray first thing in the morning and instead often turn to coffee, that's paving the way for my children to believe that it's what goes into our tummies that what makes a good life, rather than what goes into and flows out of our hearts. So do I take this gospel as a convicting one in particular? Yes. Do I see the need to reform my habits around compassion and prayer? Absolutely. And so now, the hard part is actually putting my money where my mouth is and spending more time in prayer and less time in front of the kitchen stove. All right, Steve, that's all I got, and I'll see you on Monday.